It's outro. Well, praise the Lord, everybody. Welcome to On Point, the number one Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on any smart device at David G. Evans, the number one. We are so glad you took the time to join us again. We're looking forward to a very stimulating conversation, of course, around the subject of the Word of God, faith, politics, sports. No subject is prohibited on Point, but we always discuss these very vital subjects from a biblical perspective. If that's the kind of conversation that you would like, give us a call, 866-743-8267, 867-866-7438-267-866-74-EVANS. Give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. First-time callers, don't be shy. We won't hurt you. We'd love to hear from you. Our legacy callers, of course, always. We're looking forward to hear what you have to say and what you've been thinking about the relative poignant events that are happening all around us. Most of you know that have been with us a while. We look at things from a biblical perspective. The sons of Issachar said we need to understand the times, but also we need to know what to do. How do we handle the times that we're living in? And they got that wisdom from studying the word that had been revealed at that time. So we look forward to talking to you today. Our world famous co-host, Reverend Nicholas A. Smith, is here. Hey, man.
Good morning. Good morning.
You doing all right?
Yes, sir. Gearing up for this week.
Man.
Get my mind ready.
I'm so glad it's not sick nights and 5 days anymore.
Jesus, cat mercy.
You know we did that for 20-some years?
I know. It just used to normal.
Yeah, man.
And
but once we unloaded that wagon,
I don't know about putting it
the
back
prospect of going 6 nights, 5 days,
yes, sir,
nonstop, up late early, up late, up early. I wasn't looking forward to it.
Me neither.
But this 3 days, it feels God sent to me.
Me too. And it starts a little later, what, 9 o'clock, 9:30 prayer?
Yeah, 9:30
versus
prayer.
8 a.m. class?
Man, yeah.
I'll take this.
It was like going to summer school.
Right, it was.
And church at night.
Right, yep.
But lot going on.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I've only been alive 73 years, but I don't think I've ever seen as unsteady a presidential administration as I'm seeing now. And I say unsteady because the emphasis seems to change from day to day. But I also understand that the political strategy when unpopularity is happening is to either cause a in-nation something to distract or a war. And it's consistent throughout history. So all of a sudden, last Monday, we weren't involved at all.
Yep. And
by Friday, we're going to dominate the skies over Iran. It doesn't make any sense to me.
None at all.
We're not going to bother the hotel workers and the farmers. The lobby obviously got through to them. And then within 48 hours, we're going after them too, because the quota couldn't be reached without raiding the farms and it's just.
And then he reverted back on that again too. But the whole tariff thing.
Yes.
They were flip-flopping.
Yes.
I'm like,
it gives a sense of instability.
Yeah.
And the lady with the gray in her head from Samoa, the intelligence chief, Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, Gabbard, yeah. Okay.
She says one thing. President literally says, "Don't listen to her. She doesn't know what she's talking about."
Yeah.
They have because they accused President Bush and that administrative of being very deceptive. They've accused Biden of being very deceptive. Now, what I've learned about this particular administration is if you listen well, whatever they accuse you of,
they're guilty.
They're guilty of.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. He always says to me, he always says the first thing on his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever that is at that time is true.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind what I said 5 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's just at this moment,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean it that way.
Right now.
But right now,
Mm-hmm.
it's all that matters. And this petulant insecurity of trying to have this look of toughness.
He's not tough.
But be willing to put the American people at odds. But also our troops in a situation.
That's actually cowardly.
Yeah.
It is. Some people try to use others to display their bravery, and it seems to me that he thinks the soldiers are chess pieces.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think it's a dictator model.
Yeah.
Because in that environment,
Mm-hmm.
the soldiers are expendable.
Yep.
So, he did all his campaigning saying everybody was wrong for getting us involved in a war.
Mm-hmm.
And then, all right, so say, for instance, I go to commit a crime,
Mm-hmm.
and you give me the weapon. In my mind, you're involved in the crime.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we give weapons to Israel and then try to say we're not involved in the war?
Right. When
We are.
We're funding it, yeah.
Why not just say that?
Yes. Yep. Now, Ted Cruz, I don't know if you saw Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Surprised me.
What's going on with him?
He had an interview with Ted Cruz.
Who'd he fall out with?
To what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
He asked Ted Cruz, what do you know about Iran?
Okay.
Basically, Ted Cruz knows nothing about what's going on in Iran.
How?
And that's what Tucker Carlson was saying. How are you supporting Israel's fight in Iran, and you don't even know who the chief is? Da-da-da-da. So then Ted Cruz brings up the whole, we're fighting Iran through Israel, to what you're saying, right? This is what he says.
He says it?
Yes. And Tucker Carlson surprised me, was basically saying, how are you, so you, a congressman, are admitting that America is at war with Iran. No, I'm not saying that. We're at war with Iran through Israel. Tucker Carlson said, no. Just like you said, if we're funding them and supporting them,
then we're fighting.
He said, as a congressman, you just declared war.
That's right.
That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
And Ted Cruz, tried to word salad his way out of it. But that's that thought process that you're bringing up.
Here's what I don't understand. Why not just admit what you're denying when you know it's what you're doing? What?
Yep.
Okay, you're helping Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So you're an ally to Israel. I'm not saying the country can't do what it wants to do, because it can and it does. I am saying, why on the face of it can everybody see it? And then you just deny that it's going on. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't. And then what's getting on my nerves too is the dispensational revelation crew coming out. Everything's end time now.
No, they didn't.
Everything. This is
not
wars
again.
Ready. Every single time something happens in Israel,
not again.
They go through this whole piece. So now, the Bible says.
So they're making it righteous.
They're making it righteous now.
Okay.
Pray. I believe we should pray for Israel like we should pray for any other nation.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible doesn't say you condone everything that Israel does.
That's right.
It doesn't mean we got to support everything Israel does.
No.
But they're taking scripture to back this whole, we need to, instead of saying money, power.
So now we're lying biblically because they don't want to be seen as not supporting a decision that he makes. So they're in a context now. Politicians are doing this too. They're afraid to say, I don't agree with that, but I still support him.
Yep. Can't do it.
Well, maybe, because we do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't like what you're doing, but you still got my backing.
Yeah.
So what's so hard about that?
What makes Trump, with Trump, if you're not 100% on his side, even if he flip-flops, if you don't flip-flop with him, you're his enemy. And we know the people we talk about that we know personally like that.
Yes.
If you don't go along with their agenda, even if it changes, all of a sudden we can't be cool.
But then how are they going to reasonably continue to support when they make a decision, he doesn't like it, he throws them under the bus, He backs the bus up off him.
Yep.
All right, get up. I need you to say this. They say it.
Mm-hmm.
Then he comes back and says something else contradictory.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're sitting there like, well, I didn't say that. Well, it was taken out of context.
Yeah.
We're at war. It's not a contextual statement.
Mm-hmm.
We're cutting Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to make that look good.
None.
We're taking your health care. There's no way to put some icing on that, and it looks like something you want to receive. It's just...
I know. But like you said, we talked about years ago, we're not dealing with logic.
Obviously.
Because there's no logical reasoning for these things. It's felt. But also, to me, those who are in charge and know what they're doing, because they know people are gullible and will fall for it, that's evil to me.
Well, I think it's absolutely evil.
Yeah.
I think it's evil to basically tell millions of people, we don't care if you get sick and die. We need to give some money to a certain group of people, so we're just going to take your health care in order to do it.
Yeah. While keeping ours.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't hear about any cuts in the health care plan for congressional people.
Nope.
Senators and congressmen will keep theirs.
Mm-hmm. That we pay for.
But yes. Mm-hmm. So the very people that you're taking it from are making sure you have it. Mm-hmm. That makes no sense to me.
None at all.
Okay.
It's like when the whole COVID vaccine came out. The Fox News crew, or we shouldn't mandate and da-da-da-da. Then come to find out, they all had to get the vaccine.
Of course they did.
So it's like, but then when it came out, it was like, oh, well, in that whole thing. They know what they're doing.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
But I think it's a contemptible attitude towards the regular individuals that's walking around working every day.
Yeah.
They actually, and I say this so much now, they really don't care.
Because you're right, people are disposable.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't come up, somebody else will.
They're chess pieces.
Yeah, chess pieces, yeah. They're pawns, and you can just easily
replace them. It's unsettling, but I see why all these protests are happening across the country. Mm. I see why people are rising up.
Yep.
But I'm wondering if the people that are doing most of the rising up are people that are disappointed about what they voted for.
Yep.
Now, you can't say you voted for him, but you didn't vote for that. Yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
You voted for his agenda. Mm-hmm. You didn't read Project 2025, so you didn't have a thorough understanding of what the game plan was. Mm-hmm. But you can't say, he might have lied and said, I don't know anything about it. Mm-hmm. Your name's in it 360 times.
Yep. And you have people in your administration.
That's like writing the Bible without the name God in it.
Yeah.
If you're in a book 360 times, it's got something to do with you.
Yeah. And the people that help write it are in your crew.
Absolutely.
But I still remember that interview. The interviewer asked him, people are saying you did X, Y, and Z, and they don't like it. And he said, straight up, I'm doing what I told them I would do. And he straight up said it. That was one of the most honest moments that I've ever heard from him. And I'm like, basically, you can't fault him now because he told you he's going to do it.
But you cannot, I don't know how the logic works. And you help me with this. How do you vote for him, which means you vote for his agenda? Mm-hmm. And then how when as long as you thought it was going to impact other people, you voted for it. Mm-hmm. But when it started hitting you around the edges, and then some people in the heart, I didn't vote for that. Yep. Yes, you did.
Yes, you did. It's like those Hispanics who, there's that rivalry amongst if you're Mexican, Puerto Rican, Venezuelan. Certain pockets don't like each other.
Right.
They voted for him thinking he's going to do it to them when all they see is all y'all Spanish. Mm-hmm. They're not concerned about what part you're from. So the ones in Florida, Cubans and all them.
They thought they had it going on.
Yep. One lady, her husband got deported. Mm-hmm. Another one, his wife got deported. Well, I voted for him. Why would you do this to me? He told you he was going to do this.
But they didn't think it was including the Cubans in Florida.
Yep.
Very prosperous community in Florida. Mm-hmm. They thought they had influence. Mm-hmm. Didn't realize that we just need your votes. Yep. And we're willing to leave you alone until we're tired of you. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden now they feel betrayed.
Yep.
But only because He's doing to them what he did to everybody else. I have a problem with people whose hearts have become so hardened that they can watch things happen to other people.
Yeah.
But you know what? It might be, we see that dynamic working among people all the time. They fault or either pass things until it hits them personally.
Yep.
And some people actually do stuff to people and don't have a problem with it until someone does it in return.
Yep.
Wow.
It reminds me of this generation. Their favorite verse is "Judge not lest you be judged." But yet they're the most judgmental generation I've ever seen in my life.
Unbelievably judgmental.
When it comes to them, it's all mercy, mercy. Everybody else, they want to expose them, call them out.
Something to say about everybody.
Yep. And reminds me of the Clinton thing with Lewinsky. All those congressmen that said, how can you be the president of the United States and do this in your home? And then a couple years later, all their sex scandals came out. I mean, look it up. A law came out.
Yeah.
But wait a minute, you just said.
They went quiet. But they were screaming so loudly, Pastor Nick. And it's like with Speaker Johnson. I don't see. I'm clear that Christian nationalists are not Christians as the Bible describes them. Because, and I say this, if all the commandments are wrapped up in two, and you call yourself a Christian, and you think treating your neighbor as though you're disengaged from comfort, compassion, and care, you got to be looking at a different Bible and know a different Jesus, not to callously discount the impact your words and your decisions are having. I think people miss, if you make a decision about $1, it impacts someone. If you or I make a decision about $1, somebody in our homes is impacted. But they act as though they make these decisions about people's dollars and they disconnect the humanity from the decision and from the money. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Because the quote-unquote greater good is, I think Trump said it, we got to go through some hard times.
Who has to go through hard times?
Thank you. Talking about the regular, if you got his money, you're not worried about eggs being $11.
That's my problem. Whose hard times?
Thank you.
The stuff they're doing is not going to negatively affect the $1 million a year income and up. Those $500,000, 250,000, 50,000, 35,000 are impacted by the price of eggs. And now that eggs have not gone down, what did they vote for?
Exactly. Prices are still going up on stuff. Have y'all seen y'all energy bill lately?
It's going through the roof. I was offended the last one I opened up.
Me too. I hurt my feelings.
I was offended.
I was like, oh my Jesus.
I'm like, when? How?
Right.
Same people living in the same house. How?
But I was told economics were the reason they voted for him because he's going to lower all these prices. Last time I checked.
First off, presidents don't control prices.
There you go.
But they don't teach civics in school anymore, so people don't know how the government's supposed to work. Congress is supposed to govern how money is spent. President's not supposed to have that power. But people don't have civics anymore, so they're never taught this.
Because he's a businessman. He knows the art of the deal. He's going to get those deals done. He's going to talk to them business owners, and they're going to lower their prices. No, they're not.
I don't understand. If a naked man walked up to me and said, I have some clothes to sell you, I'm not buying them from him. How you bankrupt businesses as a business practice? And that's good business? It can't be.
They can't be. They look at his wealth, but they look at his wealth and he's got money and not realizing, it's not going to change the subject, but it's all going to go in. He's got this new Trump phone out. He's got all these products out.
He's merchandising everything.
Making all this money while telling people, it's going to be rough for a little while.
It's going to be rough.
But it's for the greater good for the country.
For who?
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
I'm like, y'all can't see this?
I'm just asking questions.
But I heard someone out their mouth saying he's a businessman. He's going to make his money. He's going to do his thing as long as the country's fine.
Do you know how bad a business person you have to be to lose money running a casino?
That's true. Yeah.
That's designed to take money from people?
Mm-hmm.
How do you bankrupt a casino, man?
That's true. That's true, because all casinos aren't even...
The mob wouldn't be in the casino business if you couldn't make money.
Right.
And it's one of the few businesses they don't run into the ground. Normally they take to the business and then they go. But no, casinos, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 years.
Yeah, because they know people.
And casinos are supposed to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you bankrupt one?
That's true.
Football team. Casinos, hotels.
The schools.
So, but that's good business?
Yeah.
Who determines what?
What, yep. And knows how to revert his way around and...
Well, he's built his millions forcing other people into poverty.
Yep.
You know, so, because when he bankrupts a business, he does that so he doesn't have to pay the vendors.
Mm-hmm.
Then the vendors go under because they can't pay the lines of credit that they've gotten based on doing business with him.
Yeah.
I can't pay my drywall line of credit off. I can't pay my glass line of credit off. I can't pay my chairs and all that. I can't pay it off because you haven't paid me.
Yep.
So it's a domino effect. That's what happened in Philly when he bankrupted those two projects.
That's true, yeah.
I mean, in Atlantic City. They bankrupted those two projects, and guys went out of business, lost homes, and, you know, had to snatch the kids out of private schools and all that other stuff.
That's true. And he could always protect his money.
And what he said in the interview that I saw was, I haven't broken any laws. So there was a disconnect there from people that I saw when I saw that interview.
Yeah.
They asked him about it.
Mm-hmm.
Asked him, what do you feel about the impact that made on people's lives? A lot of small businesses in Atlantic City went into debt to be a vendor.
Right.
You know, okay, the drywall's going to cost you about $2 million.
Yeah.
Biggest loan of their life.
Mm-hmm.
They all need to get paid. They kept putting them off, because they believed he was going to pay.
Yeah.
Then he bankrupted the business.
It's cold, man.
But he said he didn't break any laws.
Break laws. Oh. And technically?
He didn't.
He did.
So there's a disconnect between the decision I make and the harsh consequences that it causes in the people that I'm connected to.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
It is. January 6th. Before that, law enforcement, Blue Lives Matter. That day
didn't matter
at all. So it's all selective to
what I want to do at the time.
Yes.
And what was it? So Los Angeles was having a riot.
Mm-hmm.
But January 6th, that was a tour group.
Yep. Patriots.
The Patriots just exercising their amendment rights.
Mm-hmm.
Free speech.
Free speech, yep. Yeah. Now, never mind all these protests, free speech. You're allowed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it doesn't get violent, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But
nope, not allowed.
Not allowed.
That's a riot.
Yes.
That's a gathering.
That's a gathering, yes. Mind you, there's not a whole lot of... To me, I keep saying this, and maybe I'm thinking wrong here. Help me out here. Say the riots that we see with some African Americans, Rite Aid, grocery store, etc.
Sure.
Still wrong.
Absolutely.
Breaking into a grocery store, CVS, messing all that stuff,
that's
completely
crime.
Wrong. That's crime.
Crime.
But to me, breaking into a government building versus breaking into a grocery store are two different things. The penalties are far worse.
Where there are elected officials.
You can't hold...
You go in with those ties
Mm-hmm.
and let's hang somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But then to defend it, oh, it was just a tour. Why were you running out of the building if it was just a tour?
Absolutely.
And do most tours come to the White House? There ever been another tour where feces were left on the wall?
And you don't break into a place to tour it.
No.
You don't bust through there. I'm just saying, I don't go through. You've been to the Capitol plenty of times.
Absolutely.
I went to just on a tour to see.
Mm.
You had to go through all the security, all the necessary stuff.
It's not an easy place to get into.
Yeah, schedule the time you're coming. That's just to see just the tour part for civilian.
I'm going Monday, and you know, I'm getting communication after communication about what the protocol is. You know, so I don't have to break down the door.
Mm-mm.
I've been invited.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have to go through a security measure to go to the shop, right?
No.
I just walk in. There's a different. But it's who determines what.
I don't know what has happened to us. 866-743-8267, 866-743-8267. Give us a call. We love to talk to you. We're going to Robin from Bear, Delaware, and then Scott from Vina. Hi, Robin. How you doing? Robin.
Good morning, Bishop and Pastor Nick. How y'all doing this morning?
How are you? Welcome to On
I'm
Point.
good. I'm good. I just want to say, Bishop, you did it again with your Father's Day message.
They still talking.
They still talking about it?
Yes, some people say, oh, he needs to do a series make that a series. Yes, Bishop. Look, I put that in a separate playlist. It's just that one. Bishop, that message was good. I was laughing when you was talking about the women want a man with a stomach,
a six-pack?
with a six-pack.
Yeah.
And you said, well, you women, are y'all going to come with a six-pack? I said, oh, I better start working on mine then before the man comes.
No, you know, people often ask for what they're not even compatible with.
Yeah.
You know, our eyes tell us one thing, but there's no reflection back to who an individual is. I want someone pleasant, but I want to be allowed to remain unpleasant.
Mm-hmm.
I want someone giving or open in communication, but I want to be accepted as somebody that doesn't talk much and doesn't say much. It doesn't make any sense.
And I know some women who have a good man, does everything and treats them so bad. I had a family member when my mom was living. She even said something like, that's not how you treat your husband. They're not together anymore, but I've seen it, and here we good women, we want a good man, and then we see women that get him and treat him like dirt. I don't get it.
I thought the Inspired Expressions, I believe that's the name of our drama ministry, I thought they did an excellent job.
Yep.
Yeah, that was good.
And they really made it very easy for me to preach that particular message because, I was sitting in the pew contemplating how am I going to introduce this so it can be received the way I want it to be received. And then they came out with the, and then it was like, okay, just go up there and teach the lesson,
Yeah. You did one of them in a long time.
Yeah, that's what everybody was saying.
A long time. We had a man from another state, one of our members, her father was watching it.
Okay.
And he said, that's one of the best sermons I've ever heard. I'm coming up in 2 weeks. He's coming up to church in a couple weeks here.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, you got to do a series about it. But Bishop, I heard it was you who said, "Watch the hand" when they was doing the drama.
Yeah, I did.
I
did. I also said that she was writing a check with her mouth, and everybody else finished the rest of it.
Oh God! Well, I just have a few comments.
You already had a few, Robin.
No, well, that was about your message. I had to do that first.
Go ahead, girl.
Oh, and Pastor Nick, thank you for your short message, especially the ones you did on numbers. I really love your message that you're doing as well. But I saw the clip where this man had his house being built, and most of his workers, construction workers, was immigrants.
Of course.
So ICE came and picked them up. Now his house is sitting; it can't get done.
Of course. Mm-hmm. When's the last time, Robin, when you were riding through a neighborhood, you saw someone getting their roof replaced? You don't see many white people up on the roof. You see them down in the driveway giving orders.
Yep.
Nope, you see the immigrants.
It's usually immigrants on the job. And they're able to put so many of them on the job at one time that they got to be underpaying them.
Yep. They have to.
Because if you had any other ethnicity on that roof,
they wouldn't.
The roof probably cost you $10,000 more.
Yep, they cut the grass at the apartment complex. They do a lot of work.
The only person that's not an immigrant is the one that's supervising usually.
Yep.
I mean, when they come here.
Yeah.
I know.
Yep.
It's just a mess.
I know they raided my car wash.
Yeah, most of them. Yeah.
They raided my car wash, man, a couple years ago. They had to automate that place.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
They had to put robots in.
Yeah, true.
And they had a couple of people that were not of Mexican descent. First time I ever had to get out my car and say, "Can you get that, please?"
Yeah.
Wow.
I never had to do that.
But
I know.
I'm gonna leave you with this. I don't know if Pastor Nick saw the clip where I don't know who Trump was talking to. I think he was like in the opening door of the Air Force One.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking to him, talking about how what's his name, Kim Jong China.
Kim Jong-un.
How his people sit up in attention. He said he wants his people to do the same thing.
I saw it.
Yeah, that was before the
saw
parade.
it?
That was before the parade.
I saw him say it.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
And even the parade, I've heard some preachers, and one in particular, mention that the parade was more about the military and the birthday of the military than it was about Trump.
Oh, no, it was about him.
But Trump made it clear this was about him primarily.
Absolutely.
Because it was his birthday.
It's dictators. It was dictators party.
Yeah. Like, why are they protesting against this?
It's a dictators party.
I'm like, bruh, you should know better. Smart guy, too. And you know out after, but just, you know.
Wow.
Well, that's all I have. So y'all have a blessed day.
Thanks for calling, Rob.
And be safe. Love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. We have Scott from Vineland, Alicia from Fresno, California, Derek from Camden. Scott, how you doing?
Bishop?
Hey, man, how are you this morning? Welcome to On Point.
Appreciate you. Pastor Nick, what's happening?
Hey, man, what's up?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. Oh, it's Mr. Trump, man. Really, you going to stop June? Well, try June 3rd. What's that all about?
Juneteenth, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, when he made that tweet, yeah.
Well, they quote unquote suspended all of those special holidays for a period of time.
Yeah.
Which was just a way to stop them.
Yeah.
But if you really look at the landscape of the event landscape, only those things that are connected to ethnicities or lifestyles have been suspended or de-emphasized. But we have a military parade that's going to cost $30 million.
Yep.
But we are absolutely in need of money.
Yep. The parade, and people barely even showed up to the parade.
Well, it was not well attended. I understand he was rather disappointed. But the reality is it's hard for the American consciousness after a while for you to tell us you need to cut things. And you're spending $30 million on a party. It makes no sense. You're spending $20 million to go golfing since you got in office. That's $50 million.
Yep.
That's food for some people. But we're not supposed to see the comparison.
Nope.
But if you are cutting back at home, but then you go out and buy a $900 pair of jeans, how is that a good use of funds?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay, doesn't make sense to me. But
no.
This if you get locked in attempting to see logic, you will get even more frustrated because there is none.
There is none. That's true.
But I think a while ago I did tell you, I asked that question to a politician. How can you juxtapose this against this? Well, we see what we're doing as a good use of funds.
Yeah.
And this money we're helping people with, that's not a good use. So once they told me that, I said, okay, so they justify disengaging people from help with the sentence, good use of funds.
Yep. Yeah, because it's not going to bring the money I want in. But we waste money all the time as a government. I mean, come on, it's
ridiculous. How much money have we spent on wars?
Yeah. So that certain people can get.
Oh, God. The
wealthy.
Contractors make money.
Yeah.
Bush's vice president made a lot of money.
That's true.
We've got Alicia from Fresno, California. Hi, Alicia.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you this morning? Welcome to
Hello.
On Point.
How you doing, Bishop?
All right, how you doing, girl?
Hi.
This is Anisha Hupp, the one that's sending you those prayer requests.
Yeah. How's things going in
Please,
Fresno?
look, Bishop, please forgive me for sending so many prayer requests. You know what I'm saying? But the prayer request was real serious. You know what I'm saying, Bishop?
You don't have to apologize for that.
Oh, I don't?
No, that was good. You're supposed to send them to us.
How you been doing, though?
We're doing good. How you doing in Fresno?
I'm doing all right, Bishop. You know, my dad is still in jail. You know, he's 66, Bishop. So, you know, his trial starts next month. You know what I'm saying? I ain't seen him in like 13 months, Bishop.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm 43, Bishop. My birthday was just on the 14th. I just turned 43.
You're a young person.
I'm young.
Yeah, you graduated out of high school yet?
But, no, I didn't graduate. No.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm real special, though. I was born on the president's birthday.
Okay. And
my dad, you know, he was saying some stuff about me, but I'm real smart, though, Bishop.
Your dad's trial is coming up now?
Yeah, it'll be next month on the 21st.
Okay.
In 1 more month.
They
made 1 more month. He's 66 years old, Bishop. He in jail right now, but he's sad as hell. You know, he was mad at me just a minute ago because I told his lawyer he was smoking crack. You know what I'm saying? Because he came to Fresno 15 minutes. He was homeless, Bishop. He didn't have no car or nothing when he came out here.
Okay.
So I was trying to get down there and see him, and I didn't have no car. So when I got on the bus, he was already gone. He went to Oakland. Then from Oakland, he went to Sacramento. Then from Sacramento, he went to the apartment where I got him. I moved him back to Colorado, Bishop.
Why was he bouncing around so much?
Because he didn't have nowhere to go. He had did some prison time in the past, and one of his women was talking about poisoning him. I had to get him $9,000 rental assistance. He couldn't afford the apartment, so he ran to California for 15 minutes. And then he went back to the apartment. I got him a 6-month hotel room paid up, and then I got him his own apartment. He was in his apartment like 13 months.
Okay.
But he's been in jail right now for about 13 months now. He's been off my help. I helped him for 2 years straight.
What do you think? What's your analysis of how the trial's going to turn out?
To be honest with you, I can't say nothing about it, Bishop, because, you know, every time I try to get close to my dad, he do this anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I ain't seen him in months. I ain't worried about it, Bishop.
Okay.
I got to go on with my life, man.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because he going to do this anyway.
Yeah.
You know, that's how he been doing me, Bishop.
Well, don't stop praying for him, though.
I won't, Bishop.
Yeah, don't. That wasn't
Well,
right.
my mom just told me the other day, he said he loved me, though. I just wrote him a card in jail and wrote him a long letter. And I was putting money on his books for 6 months straight, but he got nervous, so he don't want me putting no more money on his books right now.
They have him in city jail, or is he in a federal jail?
He's in Denver County jail.
Denver County? Okay.
Yeah, that's where he was at since I was 7. I'm 43. I moved him back out there.
So is he using a public defender, or does he have legal counsel? What's he?
No, I wrote the course for about 6 months. I think he got a free world lawyer right now.
Okay. All right.
He would have been fussing real bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. How's things?
Yeah.
Tell me about Fresno. Is it a nice place?
Yes, it's nice, Bishop.
Is it nice?
Yes.
Have you found a good church out there?
I'm cleaning a church right now, a Mexican church. I used to clean an African church, but I was going through a divorce. And, you know, my ex-husband turned. He started putting stuff in his drugs. He was losing his mind real bad, Bishop. So I was married to him for 5 years. He was talking about calling my mom a B. He was talking about beat my daddy butt, too. He said, I beat your daddy, AASS. Sorry, excuse my French, Bishop. He said, I beat your daddy, AASS. Sure did, Bishop. So I had to get rid of him, you know what I mean? That took a while. So it took me about 10 years.
What made you get with him, Alicia?
What made me get with him?
Mm-hmm. You didn't know he was crazy for
Well, you know, I was dating somebody else at the time back in the day, and he was making me jealous with other baby mamas and stuff.
Have mercy.
So I ended up getting married. That's why.
This sounds like a reality show.
Yeah, that's what happened. I was with somebody else, though, actually.
This sounds like a reality show to me. Got a lot going on there, girl. Got a lot going on.
Yeah, I did. I really did, Bishop. But, you know, I was trying to get married to honor God, Bishop.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, for everything I did in the past, huh?
But you sound like you might have made the wrong choice, though, daughter.
Because guess what, Bishop? I've been in jail before, too, Bishop. Me and my daddy was born in the same hospital, Bishop.
Okay.
And that's San Francisco General. You know where San Francisco at, don't you?
Of course.
All you got to do is look at it. That's where I moved them from, Bishop. That's where we were born at. They finna agree to put their prison on the ocean out.
We got to let you go, girl. I'm going to pray for you, but we got to let you go, okay? Hello?
She gone. Oh.
She gone? Yeah. We got Derek. Hey, Derek. How are you, Derek?
Hey, how are you doing?
Derek.
Good morning. Good morning, Bishop.
You sound you sound a little sleepy this morning. What's going on, man?
I'm doing all right.
Okay.
Yeah, walking real good.
I'm glad to hear it, man.
Listen, Bishop, I got a question for you. when you was preaching Father's Day.
Yes.
You was like, ain't nobody gonna tell y'all the truth, but I'm gonna tell you the truth now.
Well, I
You was going off on Father's Day.
Pastor Nick has indicated that we got some wonderful feedback on that.
Yeah.
People are saying
Oh
we
my
need to do
God,
that kind
it
of
was
thing
good.
again.
It was real good.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to do that again.
I appreciate it. But somebody yelled out, "That sounds like a book to me."
Yeah. But I'm doing real good. I went to the center yesterday, and everybody, as soon as I got in the door, everybody started hugging me.
That's because you're doing so good, man. God is blessing
Yeah,
you.
they was glad to see me back.
God is blessing you. I'm glad to see you
Yeah.
back too.
Now my thumb is starting to tingle.
Why, you hungry?
I don't know what's wrong with it.
Probably some nerves coming back to life, man. You were hurt.
Yeah, I know. But my right arm is still hurting though.
But that means you got feeling in it, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
That means you have feeling in it. You had a lot of damage. You had a lot of damage, man. So it's going to take a minute, but you keep working at it here.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep working at it. I probably gotta exercise it.
Of course, you can't stop that, Derek. Don't get lazy.
Nah, I ain't gonna get lazy.
Now that you're up on your feet, you got to keep your workouts up.
Yeah, I'm walking back and forth to the store without my walker,
Wonderful.
so that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Take your time here.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my time.
All right.
I'm gonna be at church tomorrow. I'm gonna ask my aunt can she take me to church.
Good.
I hope she does.
Yeah.
I hope to see you. All right.
All right.
All right. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
866-743-8267, 866-743-8267. This is On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on any smart device at David G. Evans, the #1. We'd love to talk to you. Pastor Nick, why do you think the ICE deportation needs to be expanded?
According to our president,
Okay.
we have to go in these democratic cities to deport these illegals who are illegally voting. He basically is trying to use it as a means to try to, in his mind, flip New York City, those places. But most of them aren't voting.
No.
But he's got this vendetta against those places that didn't vote for him.
Okay.
Yeah. So Philadelphia,
So the
York
politicians
City.
don't see a thing wrong with that?
that's the thing. So the local ones are fighting against it.
This makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I remember I told you when I was in Arizona in February, and I went to the mall several times just walking to complete my steps for the day. And I'm looking, and I see a lot of people. And there's a lot of construction going on in Arizona, in Phoenix. There were a lot of Hispanics, Mexicans at the mall, very relaxed.
Yep.
And I'm wondering why the construction sites overrun with people of other ethnicities and from other countries, and the mall was full. And I'm saying to myself, these people are very relaxed. They walk around laughing as if there's no threat at all. I got back to the hotel, and I asked one of the exec, I said, what's going on around here? There's other cities, people are cowering and hiding. Here, no. I said, well, it's primarily red city, red state. So some message has been sent.
They're trying to penalize those places. They just tried. ICE just tried to go into the Dodgers game,
No, they didn't.
and the Dodgers stopped them from coming into their stadium, into
How'd
the
you
parking
do-
lot part.
how'd you do that?
I don't know. Somehow they put it out there. ICE tried to come in to the parking lot. We stopped them there. I guess 'cause they had no warrant they just showed up.
Money can do a lot of stuff, you hear me? Because that guy that owns the Dodgers owns,
I think he just bought the Lakers too.
he bought the Lakers.
Bought the Lakers, yeah.
Guy named Walker.
Mm-hmm.
$10 billion.
They said Bus bought it for what, $69 million, I think.
Something like that.
However long ago he bought it.
Yes.
$10 billion.
Highest for any sports team, basketball,
Yep.
in history.
Yeah, the Celtics just sold for a
$6
little
million,
less.
$6
$6 million. That one. I'll tell you this. If Dallas Cowboys, if he decides to sell,
Yeah.
that's going for at least 15 or 20.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's at least 15 or 20
I'm
billion.
sure.
At the minimum.
But I don't think he'd ever give it up.
He can't.
That ego thing.
No, no.
He likes having that team.
Oh yeah. Even if it hurts his team.
Yes.
But something we talked about years ago, and something you said on Sunday. I think people forget, just because he's this, he's still a man.
That's right.
In the positive way, I'll use it in a negative way too. No matter how much money some people have, how much power some people have, if they're an insecure man or woman,
It doesn't cure it.
It doesn't cure it. They cannot. Because you would think that person wouldn't be that insecure about that.
It doesn't cure that kind of thing at all. Matter of fact, I think the behaviors that come from it, from that insecurity, especially if you're very wealthy, you see an overcompensation for it.
Yes.
I'm in charge. You can't say anything about it. I've got this. I've got that. I'm controlling people's lives. I'm doing this. So the behavior reveals the insecurity.
Yeah.
But it's not just wealthy people. In our context, a lot of what we see as a problem comes out of insecurity and low self-esteem.
Yep.
The thing that's hidden by insecurity and low self-esteem is people attempt to act as though they're not.
Yep.
And they don't realize that their behavior reveals all the more how insecure and how rejection sensitive they are.
Yep.
Okay.
That's true. It's just you would think that person wouldn't be.
Yeah, you would. The way they carry themselves, you would think they wouldn't.
Yeah.
But that's people with money and without money.
Yeah, it is.
But people that don't have financial means go overboard in trying to look strong, secure, high self-esteem, when the behavior reveals and the language reveals. All three of those are present. Low self-esteem, just don't like themselves. All of that comes out if you just watch and listen to people.
That's true. That's true.
We got Phil, line one. Hey, Phil.
Hey, Bishop, how you doing?
Fine. How are you this morning? Welcome to On Point.
Fine. Thank you. So I wanted to talk to you about Trump and what he's been doing down in the D.C. area. You alluded to it a little while ago. I was speaking to my cousin, who's a major business owner who runs a consulting company and has contracts with many of the federal agencies down in D.C. He says that first, when Trump was in office the first time, he didn't get treated well by D.C., so he's coming after the D.C. area.
Okay.
He's by cutting the federal workforce. Once he cuts down the federal workforce, you have empty buildings.
Right.
So then they sell the empty buildings. Therefore, when another administration comes in and tries to hire people, they don't have any place to put them. Then also what they've been doing is moving a lot of those federal jobs to red states. So they're shrinking the D.C. area and not making it easier for the black middle class that lives there to flourish.
Yeah.
The other thing is that they said that what they've been doing with the real estate. My brother, who lives out in California, says in San Diego, what they did is they started selling a lot of the government properties out there for pennies on the dollar, almost to the point they've been selling it for how much they paid for back 30, 40 years ago. But and then once they buy it, then the value goes back to, they revalue it to what today's current prices are. So those are the games he's been playing.
I agree with you. I see as a subplot to stripping the farms of their workers. I think the real agenda is a land grab.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a land grab because a lot of farmers are losing their properties. And, of course, they're going to sell them at a discounted rate. And then all of a sudden you're going to see malls and housing developments and those types of things spring up in these same places.
Right.
I know that I think, and it's just me from one experience, I see all that getting rid of the immigrants, nobody to work the land, farmer can't pay his bills, land goes up for sale, auction, they get it for pennies on a dollar, and then you see them develop something else with the land.
Yeah.
Or better still, it goes into corporate farming. So therefore, the corporations will own the farms, not the mom and pops will own the farms.
And when they do that, like Monsanto has an agreement with the farmers that they can only sell to Monsanto. They have to use Monsanto seed. If they have found that they have gone and bought seed that's not Monsanto seed, then that breaks their agenda, their agreement, and then Monsanto can move to take the farm.
Right. Well, there was something similar to that a few years ago, where a neighboring farm, a corporate farm, was using a particular seed that was that they had rights on, it's proprietary. But the problem was that when the wind blew, it blew the seed into the neighboring farm, and then the corporation sued the neighboring farm for using their seed. And he said, I didn't buy your seed, it blew over here.
Land grab.
Yeah. And they're selling public land, private land, no, government land too.
But,
are they selling government land?
They're trying to sell portions of government land, like for forests that were forests and stuff.
Right.
They're trying to sell those pieces of property off too.
It's amazing to me that so unenvironmentally concerned that different administrations are. What matters to them is money and cities where people of great means live. It's just amazing. Yeah, Phil, what were you going to say?
Oh, the other thing I was going to say, the same in the D.C. area, what they call the DMV, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, with all the black families who own a lot of the homes, the value of their land is going down because people can't buy the properties and so forth. So therefore, now you're going to have corporations and other people, people with means buying up that property at pennies on the dollar.
I know a few government people who live in Prince George's County, which is one of the wealthiest counties in the nation. There's a lot of African Americans that live there, and a lot of those people have either been forced out of their jobs, long-term jobs, or they've seen their contracts come to an end very abruptly, and it's put a lot of people in crisis, and it's just another way of ridding some people from an area that you want to have access to. So it's just there's always money at the bottom of all these things.
It's almost like Black Wall Street now. That's what's happening to that area, except they're not burning it down.
Yeah, they're just going to get everybody evicted.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
take care, Bishop.
All right, man. Talk to you now. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye-bye.
I think what I see, oh man, it's only 4 minutes. What I see, and I've said this to you, and I've said this on air, and I've said this in private conversations. All of this stuff we see going on, the underbelly of it is us.
Yep.
It's the impact on us. And we just had an election in New Jersey. Does anybody, even with and the Democrats made a mistake again, 6 people in the field.
Yeah.
Even with all 6, do you actually think there's only 125,000 African American adults of voting age in New Jersey?
There's more than that.
There's millions.
Yeah.
But I think we were only represented maybe 250,000 votes between all of the.
Yeah.
So if they had just gotten together, Barack would be the candidate for governor, and he certainly could defeat the other guy, because the other guy said he intends to put President Trump's agenda in play in New Jersey. Okay.
I know.
Well, we're coming up to the end of another program. We want to let you know that this week is about our 28th year of Power of God Convocation. Starting Wednesday night, we have our Schools of Excellence during the day, and we have tremendous worship services at night. Of course, all worship services are open to the public. We want you to come out, see some phenomenal preachers. We have all Grammy Award-winning, Stellar Award-winning musical guest. John P. Key is going to be with us. J.J. Harrison is going to be with us. And someone who has not been around for a long time, Smokey Norfolk, has not been to this part of the country. He's going to kick us off on Wednesday night. We've got some dynamic speakers. Pastor Bryant's coming on Thursday. YPJ Miller's coming on Friday. Pastor Watley's coming. Bishop Blake's coming. You name it, we're going to have a tremendous time. But it won't be the same without you. All of our worship services are open to the public. That begins at 6. Our schools of excellence begin at about 9:45 every morning. Pastors and associate pastors, all areas of creative fine arts ministry, men's ministry, women's ministry, all those areas of important and vital importance in the body of Christ are going to be covered in our schools of excellence. Tomorrow morning, of course, our 8 o'clock service is our virtual service, 11 o'clock. You want to get on board as we open up another chapter of success through support. You're going to love the series. You need to be here. Well, thank you. If you have a prayer request, please send it to us. If you want to know anything about the convocation, go to BBC of NJ, and it'll take you to whatever you need to see. You can still register, or you can register on site, but all of our services are open to the public. Well, we've come to the end of another program for Pastor Nicholas Smith. I'm Bishop David G. Evans, and I want to remind you that faith acts like a thing is so, even when it's not so, that it might be so. I want you to stay strong. Believe there's nothing that comes along in life that God has not given you the strength to overcome. And stay strong, stay focused, and we will see you next time.